think people still don't know what microgreens are and how incredible they are. Really, I see this as the future of food. I knew I had something when I saw people's reaction to when they tasted it, because the flavors are so intense. They are grown in soil and they're the first growth, so there's all this energy compact into the tray. So I think once you cut it and dump it in a bowl and eat it, it's like, it's vibrating. So I just knew at that moment that I was like, okay, I got something here. Goodwater Farms is a certified organic microgreen farm grown in soil. Out here in the greenhouse, basically on the flood tables right now, we have a lot of the stuff that's cut and packaged for the markets. There's sunflower, there's the pea tendrils, then there's red mustard, kale, bok choy, and then we have some of the restaurant stuff. This is one of our biggest sellers, the red vein sorrel. So this has a nice citrus, like a lemony flavor, and then of course just the beauty of the leaves and just the red veins coming through. Bronze fennel, magenta spreen, it almost looks like a flower. This is kale, red Russian kale. You'll see the kind of the reddish stems coming in. But I got into microgreens about 3.5 years ago. Got a greenhouse and put it in my backyard and just started playing around, and I brought it to some restaurants that I knew the chefs at and brought it by, and they were like, okay, bring us more. And then it just took off. Literally have not stopped. From 2010, I have not had a day off. The University of Maryland did a study on microgreens and found that they were 4 to 6 times more nutrient-packed than mature leaf greens. So that was a huge discovery. So I think from there, people are starting to understand what they are and how important they are. Yeah, so what happens in here when they're brought out from the germination room, like these are just a couple days, these pea. So you can see the difference between this growth and then these are ready for delivery. This whole tray will go to the restaurant, and the chef will cut as they go. So they'll cut it as they need it. So it's like almost like the farm is in their kitchen. Microgreens started off as a pretty decoration, and then true chefs started using it as an ingredient. You know, today the chefs that I work with, I mean, I only work with chefs that are using it as ingredients. The minute they say, oh, if I get introduced to a new restaurant, they're like, oh, this will be nice on the side of the plate. I'm like, sorry. So, yeah, I mean, they do, you know, they are delicate, but, you know, the good chefs know how to use them. So now we are in the indoor facility at Goodwater Farms, which we are growing under artificial light. What I've found is that the basils love the artificial light. And right here we have some small Genovese basil. We have some baby dark opal. And over here we have cilantro. We have a lot of different varieties here. Probably at any given time, 32 different varieties of microgreens. Depends on the season. I think the way that I decide, it's the process of working with the chefs. That's the fun of it all. It's like the creative process working with the chefs of like, okay, what varieties are we going to grow? Here we have red shiso. This is one of my biggest sellers. It's in the mint family in Japanese, so it kind of tastes like, it has like a little bit of a cinnamon flavor to it. I love it. And then we jump to amaranth, and this is like really pretty. You can see the red. And microgreens are anywhere from 11 to 30 days and then harvest. And then in the field, it's, you know, 120 days. So it's a lot shorter time. You know, we're pretty much the caretakers. I I guess our hope and plan of the future is feed people, serve people, open up more good water farms. And it could be done anywhere. It could be in a warehouse in Detroit or in a field in Des Moines, Iowa. You know, it doesn't matter. It could be done, this can be done anywhere. People should definitely try microgreens because, yeah, it is a concentration of nutrients. Your salad becomes alive, you know, it's with the energy and the flavor, the nutrients, it's like you have everything right there. The reason why I cut and package for like Good Eggs and Whole Foods and other markets is it happened 2 summers ago at the farmer's market. When I first started growing, I was growing in little pots and growing them living. Nobody would buy them. They're like, oh, should I plant this at home? I'm like, no, these are microgreens. You cut them and you eat them. They're like, oh, and they just walk by. Until I had like this Italian woman came and she bought like 10 pots. And I'm like, I don't understand. Like, why are you buying all these pots? She's like, why am I buying these? She's like, well, this is how in Europe all the microgreens are living at the market. So we just buy them and we cut them at home. And it dawned on me at that moment where in America, Americans need to be told when to do it, how to do it, why to do it, is it okay to do it, am I going to get in trouble if I do it? So
because we didn't grow up?
Because we didn't grow up like that. We grew up in, you know, the age of supermarkets. So everything's packaged and cut. So that's what we're used to. So at that moment, I started cutting the microgreens. I'd bring the full trays and cut them right in front of them and package them. It blew up. It's just funny. It was like a lesson in sociology or something, you know. It was like, okay, so now I started cutting for the, you know, for the markets.